I've got some news for you. You're probably going to be testing different calls to action, different wordings and different executions for quite some time. In fact, probably for the rest of eternity. Remember, this free line is always moving, and what worked for us yesterday might not work for us tomorrow. So you're going to continually revisit your call to action, your lead magnet, to make sure that your conversion rate is always really healthy. If you've been watching the Exposure Ninja videos for a while, firstly, subscribe. But secondly, you would have heard us talk a lot about calls to action, or CTAs. These are the things that you want somebody to do, the action that you want a visitor on your website to take in order to begin that journey with your business. We talk a lot about where you should position these CTAs on your page. We talk about how to drive more traffic to your website so more people are seeing these calls to action. We even talk about how to follow up automatically in the email marketing and the fancy automations that you have on the back end to follow up with people that have requested more details from you in order to indoctrinate them and turn them into a customer. But one of the most common questions we get is, great, Tim, we know that we need a call to action on our website on every single page. What do we actually put in that call to action? How do we incentivize someone to take that next step with us? What should our lead magnet be? Well, in this video, I'm going to share 5 ideas for lead magnets that you can try. We're going to work on building out the perfect asterisk lead magnet for your business. And then at the end, I'm going to give you an exercise that you can play with to work out which of these ideas is most likely to get traction for your business and how specifically to execute it. Oh, by the way, if you're wondering what the asterisk was, that there's never going to be a perfect call to action. You're going to be testing this for the rest of your life. What works today might not work 2 or 3 years from now. Oh, and by the way, if you're thinking, yeah, but we're an e-commerce business, so we don't want leads. Well, that's totally cool. Actually, this stuff is super relevant for e-commerce because you are probably going to want some kind of call to action on your website, which isn't just buy now. Whether it's driving people to an email list so that you can send them products, or whether it's collecting people that have been on your website so you can put them in a retargeting or remarketing list, getting email leads is really important for every website owner. So this stuff massively applies to you. To the lead mobile. Wow, computers are cool. How exciting.
You've got mail.
An email! Oh friends, won't you come and read it with me? Okay, so before we talk about the 5 ideas, I just want to talk a little bit about the history of lead magnets and introduce you to something called the free line. Now, the free line is a concept I think I heard Eben Pagan talking about maybe 10 years ago. And the premise was this. In the early days of the internet, in order to get somebody to become a lead for your business, all you basically needed to have was a website. On that website, if there was a contact page with an email address, then people would find you, they would contact you. The internet was early, there was a novelty about it. Every time you got an email, you read it wide-eyed with excitement. And as businesses, we didn't have to work particularly hard to generate leads. Just showing up was enough because many of our competitors weren't even online yet and weren't trying very hard. And just showing up was often enough because many of our competitors weren't online yet, and those that weren't trying very hard. But as more businesses came online and competition started to intensify, what's called the free line started to move. So let's take an example of ebooks. Well, back in 2010, you would sell an ebook for money. By 2013, 2014, an ebook was a good lead magnet. This is something that you could offer on your website that people would sign up for, and they would give you their email address for, because an ebook had high perceived value. Well, today, in many markets, if you offer a free ebook, actually the perceived value of that is so low, it's not even enough to incentivize people to become a lead for your business. So this idea of the free line is what we have to give people free of charge in order to incentivize them to become a lead for us has moved and continues to move. Now, obviously the ebook is one kind of casualty of this free line movement. But really, information as a whole is becoming free. Just take this YouTube channel, for example. All the information that we learn about digital marketing through running an agency, we share free of charge on this YouTube. Subscribe. 5 years ago, this was an online training course that people paid hundreds of pounds for, and now it's just free. Information has become free, and in many markets, if you're sharing information as a lead magnet, it's just not enough to incentivize someone to become a lead, to take that risk, to give you their email address, and to risk you spamming them and contacting them. So let's talk about what makes an effective lead magnet versus what makes a lead magnet that fails. Well, most of the time, a lead magnet that fails is one that hasn't got the balance between cost and reward right. In other words, when a potential customer looks at that lead magnet, they say, the cost is too high or the reward isn't enough for me to request that thing. So going back to the ebook example, in 2005, free ebook. Great, I get to read it on my newfangled computer. Amazing. Fast forward to today.
Free ebook. Oh, that's 5 hours of reading on a screen. That sounds awful.
So as we'll see, the sorts of calls to action that are working most effectively today have a high reward. Now, this reward usually comes in one of 4 ways. Firstly, information that I can't get elsewhere. So if this information has been prepared and it's cost loads of money to get it prepared, or it's taken someone a lot of effort to get prepared, then information can still be a useful lead magnet. The second theme that we'll see throughout these lead magnets is that there's some form of time or energy saving at play. Checklists, cheat sheets, those types of things can work really well. The third type of reward is some sort of professional help. So consultations can be an effective lead magnet in some circumstances as long as they are sold well. And the fourth type of reward is some sort of personalized information. Often this can be a diagnosis, it can be a calculator or a quiz. Something like that can work well because the information is tailored to the user and gives them specific stuff that they can't get just from reading. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, or at least finding it interesting, then please consider subscribing. We release a new video every week, and we also host live digital marketing workshops every Friday on our YouTube channel. So hit the subscribe button and the little bell notification. Also, drop us a comment. We love to chat. What's your favorite call to action, and have you ever tried a CTA that worked really well for your business? Also, if you're stuck with identifying a CTA, drop your website in the comments, and we'll be happy to give you a suggestion. Back to the CTA mobile. The first lead magnet idea for you to try is a quiz or calculator. This is fantastic if your potential customers would value some sort of diagnosis or calculation. One market where this is executed particularly well is in mortgages, and here we are on the Halifax website on their mortgage calculator page. Now, if you think about someone who is going through the process of getting a mortgage, so buying a house, they usually have some really fundamental questions early on in the process. For example, how much can I borrow? What will my monthly repayments be? So the mortgage calculator is a great tool that allows us to do this. I just wanted to highlight the first paragraph here. Just answer a few simple questions and we'll help you to work out how much you could afford to borrow. We'll also show you what your monthly payments might be. It should only take a couple of minutes. So let's go back to that reward cost thing. So what's the reward for requesting this lead magnet? Well, we find out how much we could afford to borrow. That's a big reward. That's one of the main questions we would have on the route to getting a mortgage. But we also find out what our monthly payments might be. Another massive question answered on our route to getting a mortgage. But what about the cost of doing this? Well, obviously it's free, but they're also handling another potential objection, which is the time investment to fill this in. So it starts with just a few simple questions, okay? Nothing complicated, and it should only take a couple of minutes. So what we've got there is high reward, low risk. Perfect. What we've even seen is we've seen a new breed of online mortgage brokerages take this to another level. For example, here's Habito with their mortgage calculator, which is basically the sign-up form for their online mortgage brokerage service. Similar sort of thing, we're just asking a few questions. Here you can see the progress bar, 1 of 5, showing you this. You're already very, very quickly through this, and it feels like you're just very easily moving through the process. Now, the key for something like this, if you're going to use a calculator or some sort of quiz, is that the last step of this process is where someone fills in their name and email address. What this allows you to do is capture their leads after they've invested some time in filling in the form. That means they've got momentum and they've also sunk some time and energy into filling in the form. So therefore the name and email is just a little bump in the journey on the way to getting the information that they need. The second lead magnet thing to test is a free course. Here we are on survivallife.com, and you can see that the incentive to sign up for their email newsletter is this $97 survival course. What's really interesting about this is they're actually really just pitching the course. They're not really even pitching the emails, are they? The emails are almost like the cost for the reward, which is the course, because the course is the thing that takes all the attention. Now, they don't tell you what's in the course, but they increase the perceived value of it by attaching this $97 price tag to it. Now, in some ways, the free course is basically just the free ebook from 2010, but in a different package. For example, the course sounds a bit more fun. It sounds like there might be maybe some videos and some emails in there, as well as some writing, a bit more engaging. Now, we've actually used this strategy ourselves with the 90-minute marketing master plan. So if you go to exposureninja.com/90, you'll see that we offer a free digital marketing course for our website visitors. And this course is all about helping marketing managers that feel completely overwhelmed with all the digital marketing that they could or should be doing. It gives them a useful, clear template that they can follow to get all of these marketing channels in priority order and work through in a logical way. It's totally free, and it comes with 5 tutorial videos that take you step by step through the process. You can either do one step a day or you can do them all at once. But either way, the whole process takes about 90 minutes. So what are we doing here? Well, I've just told you the benefit, and of course the cost of something like this is really the time. Because it's free, the cost is the time and energy that you have to invest in it. But because it's called the 90-minute marketing master plan, you know it's only going to take 90 minutes. And 90 minutes to have full marketing clarity on all the channels you should be focusing on is a pretty decent trade-off for most people. So when might this strategy work for you? Well, if you have information that you can share with your audience, a course is still quite a high perceived value way of sharing that. Whereas an ebook, a guide, or a report, we've kind of been conditioned to expect that that would be free. A training course still has perceived value. Of course, as the free line moves further, there's every possibility that training courses in the future might be expected to be free as well. But until then, offering a free training course can be a good lead magnet if you have a lot of information in your business, which your potential audience values highly. The third lead magnet strategy is one that I've given the catchy acronym of FSIACSP. First step in a consultative sales process. Let me show you an example. So this business sells bespoke exhibition stands. Somebody who comes to this business wants to go to a big show with a big stand, look really awesome in front of all their potential customers and of course their boss, and they want to generate loads of leads for their business. So they need a great looking exhibition stand that makes their business stand out in a busy show. So what's the call to action? What's the lead magnet that we use to incentivize someone to get in touch? Well, as you'll see over here, we say for a free, no obligation, personalized quote and a free 3D visual of your stand, get in touch with our friendly team. So why is this lead magnet good? Well, firstly, for a potential customer, they know that they get a free quote. The quote is the first step in the sales journey. It's one of the stages that they need to go through in order to get to their goal. We can also see that they get a free 3D visual of their stand. This answers one of their main objections, which is going to be, is this business any good at designing awesome stands? Are we going to look really good? So the reward for this lead magnet is pretty high. But what about the cost? Well, the main cost isn't money, because we can see that this is going to be free. The main cost is any potential awkwardness if someone starts doing loads of work for us and we really don't like it, or if we ask for a quote and then they get offended if we don't take it forward. So they handle that by saying it's no obligation, i.e. we're not tied into anything. We're not locked into some sort of reciprocity arm wrestle where we feel compelled to buy something that we don't really want. And we're also saying friendly team, which kind of disarms a bit from the imagined hardcore sales team closer that could always be on the other side of a call to action. Of course, another great example of a first step in a consultative sales process is the Exposure Ninja free website and marketing review. If you go to exposureninja.com and click the big button to request your free marketing review, we'll ask you a few questions about your business and your goals. One of our team will then go and research your website, your competitors, and your current digital marketing, and they'll put together a 15-minute video which they'll send to you completely free of charge, usually within a couple of working days, which shows you the top marketing priorities that you should address over the next 6 to 12 months to reach your goals. There's no obligation to use our digital marketing services. You can take those recommendations and apply them yourself or with your existing agency. If you want to work with us, of course, we're happy to have that conversation, but there's no obligation to do so. So just in a very similar way there, what have I just said? Well, I've said, here's the benefit of what you get. You get the action plan, you get clarity on what your digital marketing priorities should be. You get this as a video, which is sent to you. So that removes some of the potential fear that someone's going to pitch us or close us. This could be really awkward. No one's going to turn up to your office. They're just going to give you this thing. The other fear is this reciprocity overhang. We're scared of taking too much in case someone tries to use that against us and force us to sign up. So I said, there's no obligation to use our services. If you like the recommendations, you can apply them yourself or with your existing agency. That's really disarming and shows you that really we just want to help. If it's right, that's great. If it's not right, that's great too. So this sort of first step in a consultative sales process is a fantastic lead magnet to get somebody into your world, particularly if you have optimized your sales process so you know exactly what to say at each stage to have a good conversion rate as someone passes through. But don't forget, just offering a free consultation with no perceived benefit is not as strong as being very clear with what people are going to leave with after they've done that consultation or that first meeting. The more you can sell the outcome of that meeting, the higher the conversion rate you're going to get from this lead magnet on your website. Okay, lead magnet strategy number 4 is checklists and templates. Now, we talked earlier about how the downside of an ebook is the time that somebody has to invest. That means that the perceived cost is actually much higher, even if that book is free. This explains why the checklist and the template can be such an effective lead magnet. This is particularly important when you have a lot of blog and information content on your site, if that is long form. Let's take a look at this page here on the Exposure Ninja website, which is all about how to define your target audience in 6 quick questions. Now, yes, the questions are quick, but this is still a fairly long piece and it's fairly involved. So what we've done is embedded a call to action with this lead magnet, which is the buyer persona checklist. This is really quick. This means that you get the whole thing basically condensed into one spreadsheet that you can use, and all you need to do is submit your name and email. Now, the credibility of this information has been built by having this really long detailed post. That shows you that we know what we're talking about in this area. But the perceived value has been increased by making this really simple and condensing it into a checklist that you can download. Here's another example on the HubSpot site. This is all about how to use case studies in your marketing. And then look down in the bottom right hand corner, we've got this free kit and templates, the ultimate case study creation kit plus templates. So we've got the kit, which looks to be basically an ebook, but kit sounds way cooler than just another ebook. And then we've got the templates. These are the things that we can just fill in the blanks. They're really easy for us to do. So obviously you need to have enough perceived value in the checklist or the templates that you're giving away for people to actually want them. But this can work really well as a kind of summary of a longer form piece. Okay, so our 5th and final strategy. After this, I'm going to give you an exercise that you can use to work out which one of these is likely to work best for you and how to execute it. But the 5th and final strategy for today is what I'm calling the free wall. If you read any newspaper sites online, you will be used to this sort of thing, the trial offer that get you to subscribe for a low fixed amount in order to get access to the website. You see it on sites like ft.com, you see it on the Telegraph, and basically what they're trying to do is tantalize you with the headlines, and then as soon as you try and read something, they want to get you signed up. And this paywall strategy is basically central to the future survival hopes of the media industry. But what we're starting to see is information businesses using a variation of this strategy. Here we are on getlatka.com. And Nathan compiles a huge list of SaaS businesses with their key metrics. It's a little bit like Crunchbase, but mostly for SaaS companies. And this is really interesting for SaaS businesses because they love to see how well other SaaS companies are doing. It's also interesting for investors too. So he publishes this huge, really comprehensive list with thousands of SaaS businesses. And he gets you hooked with the first few listings. But as you scroll down the page, you hit this free wall, where you have to sign up in order to see more information. There's some great strategies here at play. Firstly, they're increasing the perceived value by telling you about the number of companies that you're going to get data on. They're showing you when it was last updated, yesterday. They're selling you on the principles behind this business, and then they reduce the cost even further. Not only is this free, but you can sign up with one click with the social channels that you're already signed in on. So this is a super smart idea that can work really well for businesses that share information which is difficult to find, or that they're compiling themselves and has a high perceived value. Much more difficult for a business where that information isn't their core business. Let's say that you just wanted to install a free wall on your blog. Probably not going to work out unless your blog posts are absolutely amazing. But for any business where information is the core, this can be a great strategy to test. Alrighty, so in this final part of the video, we're going to go through a quick exercise that you can use to identify which of these types of lead magnets is most likely to work for you, and also how to execute that, i.e. what's the specific offering that you need to make in any of these in order for them to really resonate with your audience. The first thing to think about is this is all about your target audience. Value is in the eye of the beholder, so you need to make sure that you're finding something that really resonates with them. Here's how to do it. So first thing is you want to imagine a line where at one end of the line, on the left-hand side, your customer is unhappy. They are in some sort of pain. This is the pain that you solve. So for example, if you're a divorce solicitor, the pain that somebody is in is they might be in a relationship that's broken down and they need a clear path, the way out where things are maybe not happy, but they're riding off into the sunset together, but just on separate horses, right? That would be their end point. That's the happy outcome that they are going to. But at the moment they're in pain, their relationship has broken down. Let's say that it's the exhibition stand business, for example. The sad place that people are in now, I'm not in pain because I don't have an exhibition stand, but if I get to the show and I still don't have an exhibition stand, or if my stand looks rubbish and nobody really comes over to it and it doesn't really work for my business, I don't get any leads and I look like an idiot in front of my boss, that is painful. So that's the pain that people are trying to avoid. The happiness that they're trying to get to is that they've done the show, it's been an amazing success, they've got loads of leads, their boss thinks they're a hero. Okay, so for your business, there is going to be this sort of line, there's going to be this sort of journey. And this is the journey that your product or service is giving them. This is what they are buying. So where do lead magnets come into all of this? Well, the job of your lead magnet is to take them along this journey as far as you possibly can. So you want to give them as much of that benefit as you possibly can, whilst of course it makes sense for your business. So if I'm a divorce solicitor, for example, I might give someone a consultation where I can help them get an understanding of the assets that need to be divided up and a route through to a resolution. So I'm not actually giving them the resolution. I'm not taking them all the way to the end, but I'm maybe taking them to here, and they can see from there, they can see the rest of the journey. So there's a high perceived value of that distance there because they have more clarity than they've got at the moment, but we're not taking them all the way. So we still have scope to sell them our service. With the exhibition stand business, similar sort of thing. We're taking them part of the way there. We're giving them the free 3D visual and the free quote, but we're not taking them all the way to the resolution. So you can use this for your business. The first thing that you need to do is define what does this look like and what does this look like? What's the pain that your audience is in and what's the pleasure that they are heading towards? Then work out how much of that chasm you can cross with your call to action, with the thing that you're offering as your lead magnet. Now, by the way, if you're hoping to nail this in one go, I've got some news for you. You're probably going to be testing different calls to action, different wordings and different executions for quite some time. In fact, probably for the rest of eternity. Remember, this free line is always moving, and what worked for us yesterday might not work for us tomorrow. So you're going to continually revisit your call to action, your lead magnet, to make sure that your conversion rate is always really healthy. All right, so let's say that you've got a lead magnet which you think might work. How do you test it? Well, the first thing to do is run it past your sales team. They spend the most time talking to your customers, so they're likely to be very in tune with what your customers would actually value. If you don't have a sales team, or for some reason you don't like talking to them, the next best thing you can do is actually just talk to your customers. Just ask a few of your customers who are going through the sales process with you, hey, we've got this thing that we can do for you, explain it, does that sound of interest? If they reply back saying, yeah, that sounds awesome, great, let's do it, then you're on to a winner. If they say,
nah, I think we're all right,
or they show just muted enthusiasm, then you know that you don't really have something which is as relevant and impactful as it could be. We are looking for excitement, we're looking for enthusiasm from our prospects, not just, yeah, I guess that could be all right. That's not good enough. That's not going to get you the conversions. Then, of course, it's about testing it on your website, seeing what sort of conversion rates you're getting from your traffic. Now, it's difficult to give ballparks, but usually anything over a 2 or 3% conversion rate, you know you're doing something pretty well. So there you have it, 5 lead magnet ideas to test. We've talked about quizzes and calculators, training courses, step 1 in a consultative sales process, checklists and templates, and Freewalls. And we've even been through an exercise that you can do to help identify which lead magnet type is going to be most suitable for you. If you've enjoyed this video, please click subscribe and give us a like as well. Don't forget also to leave us a comment. We love getting banter comments, so don't hold back. And also don't forget that if you want help with your digital marketing, the team here at Exposure Ninja, we build websites and we drive traffic to them through SEO, content marketing, pay-per-click, social media, influencer, email marketing, and digital PR. So if you need help driving more traffic to your website or making your website perform better, then request your free website and marketing review from the team here at Exposure Ninja. All you need to do is go to exposureninja.com/review, fill in the quick questionnaire about your business and your goals, and we will then record a 15-minute video which shows you how to achieve those goals through digital marketing and what you need to be focusing on over the next 6 to 12 months in order to hit them. It's killer. You'll get a video usually within a couple of working days, 15 minutes long, from one of the team here, and they are amazing. So go request your free website and marketing review today. I'll see you next time. Wow, aren't computers cool? Literally, is this what my career has come to?